Transmitting to you from Old Heart Radio.
Where am I? From the ether, everyone flies. From the ether, everyone flies. Hello! Yes, that's right. Yes, I did just yell into the microphone really loud. It probably clipped. Why? Because this is an episode of Coffee and Contemplation. You know it, I know it. Why? Because I'm your host, Old Heart, aka Jared, aka me, back from the ether. I have been out there. Let me tell you what, the real world is a hell of a thing. Oh, yeah. But, you know, anyway, like I said, this is an episode of Coffee and Contemplation, an Old Heart Radio podcast. Speaking of Old Heart Radio, find us on Instagram at Old Heart Radio, subscribe to the YouTube, Old Heart Radio, and follow us on Twitter at Old Heart in Space. Yes, it's true. Shameless plugs. Why? Because damn it all, Oatly still hasn't sponsored us, even though we give them free advertisement with every podcast. Oatly still has not come through with any sort of meaningful sponsorship. Mainly because we haven't really followed through with trying to haggle with them. We should haggle with them. Oatly, Mr. or Miss, or Oatly, whoever's in charge of that company, call me. But no, in all seriousness, I don't really know if I'll need Oatly in the future. I got an older brother who's trying to get in the oat milk business. And that's all I'll say on this podcast. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about something far more important, you know, some real life shit. Unless you read the title, then you know what we're talking about. Because today we're talking about how tall King Kong is. Alright, King Kong, I don't know how to describe it. King Kong is just, for some reason, he's always been one of my favorite, movie monsters. Not like monsters and like, you know, like Frankenstein and all that, but like, you know, like giant monster movies. I don't know. Like the Big Ape, he gets me. Or I get him. One of the two. Don't get me wrong, I fucking love Godzilla. And I'm so looking forward to the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie because I have, you know, two of my all-time favorites. But I'm just saying, like, Kong is awesome. I love I love the idea of Sasquatch being out there also, you know. Maybe it's just I got an affinity for big apes of some degree. Maybe because they're just so misunderstood, you know? But anyway, how tall is Kong? Because it's differed throughout the years, and I've been having heated debates at my household with my fiancée. Still getting used to that. Anyway, in the 1933 King Kong movie, he measured in as tallest at 24 feet. Apparently, the director, Marion C. Cooper, envisioned originally a 40 to 50 foot tall ape, according to the CBR.com article I'm reading. And they used different models that were scaled for different things. Like there was an 18 foot Kong that was on Skull Island, but in New York, he was the 20 foot tall version. Apparently, the director believed in changing Kong's height to fit the settings and the illusions of the movie. My personal favorite to date, King Kong vs. Godzilla, the 1962 classic. I won't even tell you on this podcast what I had to do to get a copy of that from my childhood friend Ryan Higgins growing up. But either way, King Kong measures in at a walloping 147 feet in this motherfucking movie. That's what I'm talking about, okay? We all know Godzilla's huge, but King Kong's, he's up there. He's just shy of 200, you know? That's not true. If we're rounding, and I've been in college, friends, I'm back in college, I'm using my smart brains. It's not close to 200. But it's still up there. 147, post and numbers, okay? This was in the 1962 Toho Company movie where Godzilla fought King Kong. All right, and it was pretty fucking epic. There was some, how do I say it? I don't, as much as I love King Kong, I don't expect him to beat Godzilla. Does that make sense? Like, I expect him to be able to hold his own. I mean, Kong's, he's the king of the jungle, man. But I mean, Godzilla would destroy just about anybody. Okay, in the 1976 King Kong movie, Godzilla hit 55 feet. All right, and this is the Godzilla movie that stars Jeff Bridges and the beautiful Jessica Lange. It was, I don't know. I mean, movies from the 70s have this really particular look to them, and that's something I really I like. I think it suited King Kong well. The movie doesn't really necessarily hold up as in terms of, like, I don't know. It's kind of boring these days. Oh shit! Shoutouts to everybody listening to Evil L. You're out there. You're hearing it in the ether. Shoutouts to all you hot dogs. You're fucking amazing. Like I said, go on the Instagrams, follow us at Old Heart Radio. Hop on the YouTube, subscribe, Old Heart Radio, and Old Heart in Space on Twitter. Get after it, folks. So again, in this 1976 King Kong movie, he kind of fluctuated a little bit in his size, right? So on Skull Island, again, he was 42 feet, and in New York he hit the 55-foot mark, which was more or less what the original director Marion C. Cooper was envisioning for his Kong in the original movie in '33. King Kong Lives, 1986. The Beast grew. He's at 60 feet. All right. 60 impressive feet. I don't know if I've seen this one, actually. Okay, so apparently part of the plot of this movie, according to CBR.com, involves Kong needing a blood transfusion, requiring adventurers to return to the island to capture Lady Kong to bring to New York City, because apparently Kong's still fucking hanging out in New York in '86. I mean, it's probably a good time to be there, you know? Think about all the blow. All right, King Kong in the 2005 Peter Jackson, I don't know if I call it a masterpiece. We'll reserve that for his Lord of the Rings work. But Kong measured in at 25 feet. All right, so a bit of a downgrade. We got only a 25-foot Kong and 3 hours of fucking bullshit. I will say, I didn't really like the Peter Jackson movie that much. Jack Black was in it, I'll say that. But I don't know. How do I say? Like, I don't like the idea of Kong's story being super limiting. This one was kind of, it was basically along the lines of the first movie, the original movie. He was referred to with a certain species type in this movie, Mega primatus. That was the species that they gave it to him, but they didn't really bring a lot. They just kind of redid the story, and they did it from a different, or from a certain perspective. But I don't know. It wasn't my jam. I like King Kong movies that don't kill him at the end. I don't want Kong to fucking die. That's why I'm excited about King Kong versus Godzilla. That's why I've always been excited about that notion. If you've listened to this podcast long enough, I love crossovers, right? So it's just the idea that, let's see what King Kong does. Like, how would King Kong fight Mothra? You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. Like, he's a giant ape. Let him swing at something else besides just the Empire State Building and the planes buzzing around him. I don't know. It just seems super limiting, right? Anyway, on the most recent King Kong movie, Kong Skull Island, The great beast himself measured in at 104 feet. All right. I just recently rewatched this movie. It definitely has its hit and miss moments, but Kong's fucking badass, man. Kong's so fucking cool in this movie. This movie has some interesting elements. Good soundtrack for the most part, because the movie's set in 1973, so it has to do with these soldiers basically escorting through like a helicopter convoy these scientists to Skull Island, and boom, like shit happens, right? And so kind of plays on Peter Jackson's exploration of Skull Island, where it's like you see all these other giant beasts, but they definitely made this movie with the intention of what's coming up, crossovers, and including King Kong in a bigger, like, giant monster movie universe. And because they build his lore up, like they mention in the movie that he is classified as an adolescent and he's not even fully grown yet, and that is immediately the thing that will be probably re-explained in Godzilla vs. Kong, because he's almost 400 feet in the new movie, which is huge. We've never seen a 400-foot fucking King Kong, but I guarantee you that motherfucker's gonna wreck shop. I'll save talk for that to the matinee edition, but just to be clear, King Kong's size has fluctuated throughout the years, like most of ours. All right, maybe not height. Maybe I don't grow and shrink in height, but you know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, King Kong has always been a misunderstood, gigantic, hairy beast. Also, like most of us. So, give him some slack. Let him fight Godzilla. Let's see what happens in the new movie. That's what I'm saying. But I do want to take the moment at the end of this podcast to say, dear hot dogs, thank you so much for another ground-shattering, is that a phrase? Month. Even though we haven't been super, super active, matinee edition's really been holding this month down. You guys have been listening, and I appreciate you hot dogs doing that. So, like I said earlier, find us on social. Reach out if you want to be on a podcast or if you want to make your own podcast. And we'll keep doing what we do. Just go out there, use your brains for good, because every day is a great day to ripen up your fucking coconut, right? 2021. Let's get it together. Keep your stick on the ice.